Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Anissa Miftaul Majid from English Education Department of Unisula. Here, I would like to present my presentation about the differences between Bridge to Terabithia on a movie and on a novel. First is synopsis. There was a boy called Jess Aaron. He likes drawing. No one who interested on him at school. One day, there was a girl with many of imagination named Leslie Burke. They were a best friend. Then they made their own castle in forest called Terabithia. And then the next is the differences of the cover. In the right side, this is the cover on the movie, and then this one is the cover of the novel. The differences is the background. The background in cover of movie is blue, and then the background of cover on a novel is green or brown, something like that. Next is character and characteristics. First is Jess Aaron. Jess Aaron is the first actor in this movie, and he likes drawing. He rarely talks to his friends in the class, and he always being a bully by his friends. Next is Leslie Burke. Leslie Burke is just best friends and his next door neighbor. She is cheerful girl, highly intelligent and imaginative. Next is Mabel. She is Jess' fourth sibling. She is closer to Jess than any other members of their family. Next is Mrs. Aarons. Mrs. Aarons is Jess' mother. She seldom gives attention to Jess because careworn with the stresses of trying to support a family, 7 on a poor family income. Next is Mr. Aarons. Mr. Aarons is Jess' father. He is likewise harried by the concerns of being the sole breadwinner for a large family. He rarely has time for Jess. Next is Ellie. Ellie is Jess' oldest sister. She continually annoys Jess. She is conceited. And then next is Brenda. Brenda is Jess' second oldest sister. She is even more annoying than Ellie. She is wholly immature and self-absorbed. Next is Mr. Burke. Mr. Burke is Leslie's father. He is a political writer. And then next is Judy Burke or Mrs. Burke. She is Leslie's mother. She writes novels and seems to spend most of her time with her typewriter. Next is Janice Avery. Janice Avery is a 7th grader who is the school bully. The next is Gary Fulcher. He is Jess's classmate. He always annoys Jess in everywhere, anytime. Next is Scott Hooger. Same with Gary Fulcher. He is the provocateur to bully Jess. He is a friend, maybe a best friend of Gary Fulcher. Next is Mrs. Myers. Mrs. Myers is a teacher in Lock Creek Elementary School. She is the killer one of teachers. Next is Mrs. Edmonds. She is music teacher of Lark Creek Elementary School. She is a good teacher. Next is Principal Turner. He is a headmaster of Lark Creek Elementary School. Then I didn't find this character in a movie, but they exist in a novel. The first is Miss Bessie as a cow, and then Early Watson, Winnie Pettis, and Miss Simpson. Next is setting of place. First is in a class. This is in a class, and this one in the Aaron's house. This is in the forest, where which is be the imagination castle of Leslie and Jess. And this one is in a bus. Next is the tree house. The what is it? The castle of Terabithia. And then this one is a bird house. And then this is art museum. The next is setting of time. There is in the morning, and then afternoon, summer, a drizzly Monday, last year, on Tuesday, on Sunday, and last winter. But in a novel is the next few days, in the evening, and then the next morning, and at night. Next, the plot. The first is orientation. The orientation of the movie is Jess Aarons is the boy who likes drawing. He lived with his family with 4 siblings. He never talks to his friends in the class, but one day there was a new student named Leslie. Then they were being a best friends. And then in the novel is Jess Aarons is the boy with his burdens, inconvenience of his house life, being a bully in his class, and the interference of his 4 sisters. This is when the first time Leslie invite Jess to the forest and build their imagination. And then next, climax from the movie is Jess and Mrs. Edmond went to the art museum. They passed Leslie's house and Jess looked over of that. After Jess arrived at home, his mother was scared. His father told him that Leslie was died. And then in the novel is being invited with Mrs. Edmonds to go to the art museum without notifying Leslie and his family. Jess was so happy in that day. Leslie went to the forest, and then suddenly the rope was broke and she hit her head on the rock. She was died because of that. This one is when Jess looked over Leslie's house, and then this one when his father told him that Leslie was died. Next is falling action. Falling action of the movie is Jess looked at Mabel when she was playing with her toys. She made a castle. Jess wanted to imitate what my belle did with her toys. Jess went to the forest and built a castle in the tree house. He also made a bridge to go to the Terabithia with the what is it? With the wood from Leslie's father. And then in a novel, Jess faced up to the death of Leslie. His father appeased him from his grief and made him sure that Leslie did not go to the hell. This one is when Jess built a bridge from the wood. Next is resolution. Resolutions of the movie is Jess returned to the forest and he made a new rules. He reimagined there. He invited my belle and made her to be a princess of Terabithia and Jess as a king of Terabithia. In a novel is Jess returns to Terabithia and had to save his sister's life when my belle tried to follow him. By use the wood that given by Leslie's parents, Jess inspired to build a bridge across to Terabithia so that he and my belle can get there safely. While they're sure he wishes they would build the bridge month earlier so Leslie would have been safe. And this one, when Jess and my belle imagined that there was a bridge, a wonderful bridge to the forest, and then this one, when Jess and my belle imagined that there was a castle, a big castle in the forest. And then the last is moral value. Give a good responses to the other. We do not know until when we meet they. Be a good person. Then you will get a good respect from them. That's all from me. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.